Welcome to the Wild Remedies podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Ancora, and I'm here to bring you captivating stories from some of the most fascinating people I've connected with on my own journey of physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wild Remedies podcast. Today, we are chatting with Deanne Crewe. She is the owner and practitioner of a company called Collective Healing, and she has been doing this business for 9 years. But she has serviced the collective in energy her whole life. As a young child, Deanne saw, heard, and felt spirit, and this heightened awareness created intrigue beyond the veil. Through a healing crisis during her childhood, her desire to learn how to heal her body brought her to meditation, reiki, and then BodyTalk. Deanne received her certification in BodyTalk close to 10 years ago and has grown to include spirit baby communication, which is a big theme for today's podcast. She also does intuitive healing practices, which include Galactic and spirit channeling and Starseed healing. Okay, so if this is your first podcast that you're listening to for the Wild Remedies podcast, you're probably going to be like, this is a lot. This is crazy, especially if you're not into quote unquote woo-woo stuff. But those of you who have been listening for a while, you're probably just like, hell yeah, let's get into it. So I recently heard about spirit baby communication, I'd say like a year or so ago. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And basically the premise is that there are mediums that can communicate with your baby on spirit side. And I've had this conversation because a few of my friends have had spirit baby communication sessions, and they just found them so inspiring and helpful, especially for some of my friends who are having issues conceiving. And so we're going to dive right into all of this stuff today. And this is probably one of like our most woo. I mean, we've had a few pretty woo ones, but I love this stuff. Like, I know without a doubt that there are many things happening behind the scenes, behind the veil. And I think this is just a really fun episode. So we're going to learn about what spirit babies are. We're going to hear about how Deanne started her work as a medium and a spirit baby communicator. One question that I had was like, do all people have spirit babies, or are some people not meant to have kids in this lifetime? And another thing that I had heard and I wanted some clarification on is like, if you have kids in this lifetime, does that guarantee karma and you have to come back to Earth? That was a question that I had for her, and she had a great answer. We're going to talk about some like the spiritual meanings behind infertility and things like pregnancy loss. We're going to talk about starseeds. Are we just all starseeds? And we're going to talk about kind of like the explanation of these spiritual generations that you may have heard of before. So there's like the indigo kids, the crystal children, the pink starlight children, which sounds crazy, but yeah, we're going to get lots of insight into all of that today and how to work with and connect with your spirit baby. You're also going to find out whether or not I have a spirit baby. I was a little afraid to ask. I was like, because I've just never really had the urge to have kids. And I was like, oh man, I want to ask her, but I'm like, I'm worried that if I do ask her and there is a spirit baby, then I'm going to like want to have a spirit, then I'm going to want to have a baby. I don't know. I did ask her and she did tell me, and it was really interesting. So, okay, that is the spiel. You've been warned. This is an ultra woo episode, but I love it. It's so much fun. And Deanne is such a lovely human being. Really excited to actually meet her in person. I didn't realize she was just one town over, and we know a whole bunch of the same people. So, all right, I'm going to leave it at that, and let's jump into this episode with Deanne. Hi, guys. Just a quick PSA to let you know that our magic elixirs have gone down in price, and we're keeping it that way. Same amazing quality with real plant extracts and nutraceuticals, like the ceramicides in our glow potion that legit plump your skin. And speaking of quality, this is something that is really important to me, and that's why all of our products are crafted with medicinal grade extracts. Unfortunately, a lot of herbal blend brands out there are simply using ground plants that are not extracts. This means that you get very little benefit if you're just blending them up in a milk or a smoothie or throwing them in your morning coffee. Herbal plant medicine needs to be extracted in order to be effective, kind of like tea, which is an infusion, for example. So you need to steep the botanicals in hot water over time to extract the volatile oils that then become bioavailable to your body. So, how do you know if a company is using an extract or not? It's pretty simple. They generally clearly state it. It'll be listed as a ratio on the packaging. Like, for example, the 3-to-1 chaga extract in our spiced chocolate potion. We also have a 20-to-1 passion flower extract in our relaxation potion. So very, very easy to distinguish. And actually, speaking of chaga mushroom, make sure that you're getting wild sourced and not cultivated. Otherwise, you're missing out on like the majority of the good stuff, which comes from the birch trees that they're meant to grow on. We use wild Siberian chaga mushroom and it is the best. So extracts are more expensive, yeah, but it's a lot better to invest in something that works than throwing your money away on something that doesn't, right? Rant over. I'm just seeing this so much in the industry right now, and we need to call it out so we can do better as medicine makers. And so we're able to make better decisions as consumers. So if you feel called, check out our collection of high vibe elixirs that support your immunity, skin health, and stress levels at wildremedyshop.com. Hi, Deanne. How are you?
Good, Krista. How are you?
I'm great.
It's nice to meet you. I think we know some people in common too.
Do we? Who do we know?
You know Pam? Do you know Pam Dillon?
Yes.
Evan? Yeah, Pam's like my best friend.
What? Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I discovered you because...
Yeah, I know. Well, and then when you found me, are you in Vernon? Where are you?
I'm in Kelowna.
You're in Kelowna. Okay, so I'm Vernon.
Oh, what? Like, I thought you were like totally somewhere else for some reason. Oh, this is so cool.
No, I know. And so when we connected and you popped up and I was like, and then I went to go follow you and all the things, I was like, well, gosh, she knows like this whole circle of people. So I was like, how does she know them? How intimately does she know them? Like all the things. And I was like, well, like, yeah, Pam and I do Pilates every Monday morning.
Oh, you're kidding.
But I've known her, gosh, I almost want to say like 10 years now, something like that. Like I started BodyTalk and then 6 months later, she got into BodyTalk. So I was there for her very first like fundamentals and everything.
Oh, cool. Oh my gosh. Well, she's so talented. I was just with both Pam and Kevin at the event.
Oh, did you go? Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I couldn't, but I saw like all the Instas and like, I was like, wow, that looks amazing. It looks beautiful.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speakers looked awesome. Everything looked so great. So
yeah.
That's so cool. Well,
yeah.
So and so you're in Kelowna.
I am.
So you're close too. I'd love to see you in person one day.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be so many more community things that are coming through. I had so many downloads after this event. I was going through like a really big transformation thing with career right now. And it's kind of like, oh, I don't know what's next. And like, literally like the day after the event was over and everybody went home, I was actually staying at my parents' cabin on the lake there in Vernon, and all these downloads just started coming through. And I was just like, whoa, it was just like full body, like shivers, information coming through, sobbing, writing notes. Like I had to take like a long sleep, got back up, took some more notes, cried some more, went and ate like a bunch of cold meat out of the fridge, and like the whole day was
survival of just downloads. Yeah.
Literally like just hanging on for dear life. And I was like, okay, stuff's coming through me. I gotta get it down in my notes and we're going to do something with it. But it's all around community, which I'm really excited about.
That's so cool. And it's like, sometimes it is just that event where you get that deep activation.
Yeah, it really was. Like, I'm shocked.
And then everything just pops in. It's a bit of an ascension, right? And it can happen so quick, or just something just needs to be tipped over. We actually need to take consciousness to like open it.
Yeah.
Whether it is with others or they're activating us, or we're all there together activating each other, whatever it is. And then, and then you go away with it and you're just like the next day integrating.
Yeah, literally. Like, I think this is This event was more transformational for me than like any plant medicine ceremony, and like the integration aspect with community and like the reflections that I got from people in the community was really what did it. Like, and there was like a really deep healing process where I purged quite a bit. It was crazy actually. Like Kevin was standing right in front of me and we were doing like this whole clearing thing, like kind of like this, shamanistic type thing. I doubled over and started crying and he was right there and he grabbed my hand. And then I still felt like some energy and stuff moving around me, like some uncomfortable stuff, sort of like in the solar plexus. And then Pam comes up beside me, swoops in, and she goes like straight to the spot, you know? And I'm just like, oh my God, you magical motherfuckers. Like what's happening right now?
She hosts her own Wild and Wise.
Yes, I've been to one. That's actually how I met her and Kevin.
Well, I go all the time, so we probably would have seen each other.
Maybe I've only been to one because I'm not in
When was it?
Often, but I think it was last summer. Yeah. Yeah, my friend Jay, do you know Jay?
Jay.
Yeah.
Jay, she's there sometimes. I bet you we probably see each other, maybe. It's like I've missed a few in a few pockets, but yeah, it's just so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know her well though. I know of her and I see her at events and we say hi, but I don't know Jay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but I love what she does here
in the community. Yeah.
Love
she's
it.
Connected me to a lot of really amazing people.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Oh, it feels like we're two old friends, but we don't really know each other.
I know. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
This is happening a lot lately and it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah. Just further connections. That's
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to talk to you today about spirit babies.
Yeah. Have you talked before? Have you been in that work before? Or
Never.
Read any books or no? So
well, like I've listened to podcasts and that's why I'm just like, I'm wondering if that's how I discovered you. I'm not quite sure how it happened.
I think you did say you listened to maybe Maria's.
Maybe
I just did
some. Were you talking about like the pink crystal children? Was that you?
No, that was so the pink starlights is Lindsay. Yeah, I know Lindsay well. Lindsay and I go, we're like I wouldn't say we work together. We don't work together on spirit baby stuff, but I've seen her lots in session and I know her work and she's great and she's really beautiful, which she's slightly different, right? She's in the hypnotherapy part of it and hypnofertility. So back when spirit babies originated, there was a gentleman, you might have heard of him, Walter McKitchen. So he has a book called Spirit Babies, How to Communicate with the Child You're Meant to Have.
Okay.
And I kind of like say he's like our founding father of spirit babies. And it probably goes long even before him, right? But he really has this great book that's a big flagship, I feel like, in the spirit baby community. And so when he unfortunately passed away, and Lindsay took over a lot of his clients. Okay. And so she kind of got into spirit babies 20 years ago. And I remember stumbling across her. I just think when I was looking at fertility information or something like that, my good friend ended up working with her. Doing some hypnotherapy, whatever they were doing, and kind of created a relationship. And I didn't actually get to know her probably until the last 2 years. Okay. So I've been in this industry too for a really long time, but by the time we kind of crossed paths, it was a bit later. But I love what she holds with the pink starlights and that whole, I want to say, pod of spirit babies coming in that she works with as well. And I think that's the beautiful thing about different practitioners, you know this too, and just the spirituality practitioners of all sorts, is that we can all bring and offer something slightly different, even if we're doing the same thing. We're going to be called into different, areas of it. So she's great. But no, I don't think she has a podcast, but she was on a podcast. So you might have heard her on there and LinkedIn.
It must have been. And then
it all happens.
But that's cool that you know that, because I do have some questions kind of relating to that. But I mean, first I'd love to know how you got started with all of this.
So it's really woven into my background with BodyTalk. I started out in energetic medicine as a BodyTalk practitioner. So I was just taking my my courses. I was starting to practice with clients, and their spirit babies started to show themselves to me in session. So I'm trying to just, connect somebody's liver to their heart or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, who's this coming in? So I've always been an open clairvoyant. So seeing spirit, especially those that have departed is one part of my intuition. But I was like, what are all these people, or all these babies, these souls coming in?
Let's maybe explain what a spirit baby is first. I should have started with that. Some people, what the heck are you guys talking about right now?
Right. So spirit babies, I always say spirit babies are the souls of your unborn children waiting to incarnate. Mm-hmm. It's that other realm of mediumship, but in the incarnation part of everything. So where they're about to come back onto Earth. And I should say, I made contact with my firstborn. So I have 2 daughters, but I made contact with her about 4 to 5 years before I even conceived her. So that actually was my first connection with spirit baby energy. I just didn't know they were called spirit babies. So I'm communicating with her, just thinking this is, I think, normal. I don't know. And then I go into this form of energetic work where I'm just really opening myself to everybody's field and realizing that everybody else's babies were coming in. And I was working with a really, really close friend, and we were just practicing BodyTalk with each other. And little did I know she was going through a lot of delayed conception. And so in that, we were really diving into her baby. And it was her that actually handed me Walter McKitchen's book and was like, Dee, I think this is what you're doing. So I'm having fun reading people's spirit babies, but I didn't know they were spirit babies. And then I get this book that kind of just outlined or confirmed everything. Cool. And the depths that we would go. And I would see this I see them around 3 to 6 years old. So I should clarify that too. So almost like a toddler child. And I would see this child in her house, running around when I was working on her and doing session. And it's become a lot deeper than that in my own learning and my own deep dives and my own channelings and everything like that. But I guess you could say it did kind of find me because I wasn't actively looking for that as a career. Although I remember saying to my husband at one point, I said, when I was taking my BodyTalk training, I was like, I would love to work with children somehow. And he's crying. He's like, that's so cool. And I'm thinking children that are here, but I don't. I work with the souls coming in, and they're not children, but as that soul gets closer to Earth, they really present in a childlike form or in a human form. But it's a multiple dimensional process of a soul entering into a body, and so when these incarnating souls are close to your auric field or a family's auric field, they're very human. They show me as human. But if I was to connect deeper to that in their soul format, if you will, it's less human. It's really interdimensional. It can be galactic for some. They can be looking at like different races. They can be different colors. So sometimes we might just see even just energy in these soul babies as just orbs, and they are different colors. Sometimes I don't even see them at all, but I'll just hear them. So it's really honoring, I think, also the depth of our soul. As I peer into a spirit baby, I'm like, yeah, we are coming in to be human, and we're lining up to sign into that contract of this human body. But really, where have we come even before that?
Totally.
Because that's the last realm almost that I'm reading. So it's been fun to start at that really basic level of spirit baby communication and go super deep into where are our souls actually coming from and what are they doing there in between Earth time. So that's how I got started. Long story short. So it found me, and a beautiful friend really confirmed a lot of stuff for me. And I'm that way. I like to organically explore things and just not research a lot and just see what comes up in my own channelings with my own guides, my own intuition. So I wasn't actually actively seeking anything. I was just exploring in session. And then with her confirming, I was like, okay, this is making sense now. Now I can really put the left brain piece to all of this and, create a modality out of it, which is kind of what I did.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So for anybody listening right now that is just like, whoa, like, galactic, like different beings, all of these things. Like if you're new to this, it's going to sound kind of weird, but for all of us that are kind of into the deep spiritual work and have been studying this stuff for quite some time, this is what's coming through, like a lot of us have had many lives on other planets. There's other stuff out there. We're not alone. I've even been told by some of my intuitive mentors that we're all going to start seeing things here soon in this lifetime.
Yeah.
We may have never thought.
Well, and if we're all ascending just naturally, we're going to feed into those higher, frequencies or dimensions, if you will. And so it's going to be really easy for us to see beyond the veil, right? It always has been there, but perhaps we can now see it. And we're also in a place where we are remembering, so we can also accept it.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, then our galactic friends will meet us more halfway because they're like, "Ooh, this is interesting. What's going on Earth?"
Yeah.
There's more people calling us. There's more people open and awake. So then they actually also will come in. So people that maybe are new to this, they're still going to be seeing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I love it.
And it is becoming like so commonplace now. And maybe it's just because of like the friends and stuff that I have, but I feel like I can have these conversations with a lot of people and they're just like, oh, like, I feel like, 20 years ago or so, people would just call you batshit crazy.
Yeah.
But now it's like, it's becoming much more commonplace. I mean, we've gone through huge, huge energetic shifts and this whole like ascension to 5D thing, like maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but it's like the conversations are different. Everybody is more open, at least in my network.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just feels natural.
Yeah, it feels, well, it's also in our generation. It's this generation of, we had those indigo children really kind of starting to pave the way and make space for this contract of, say, like crystal children, maybe even some of us being in indigo energy, but really that's what's coming in, as I'm hearing, is that we're then called forth to really just speak about and talk about it like it's normal, that we just are and we embody this, and it's not something we have to go and seek, but it's already here. It's already us. It's within us. So I think it's also just part of our contract right now to be doing this, which is probably why we feel like it's just normal.
Mm-hmm.
And being called in, and we're meeting more and more like-minded people and creating bonds and friendships because it's an instant kinship. Oh, you're here with that same contract of purpose. Cool. Let's share everything and build it up even higher. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just kind of heard that download coming in. So when I always talk about, crystal children, rainbow children, indigo children, I look at it as more or less not a race or a species that has come in, but more of a contract of purpose that we sort of embodied in our soul contract to take on here on Earth.
And it's kind of like a generational thing, is it?
I think so. Yeah, I would say like, a couple generations will hold very tightly like that type of contract. Mm-hmm. And then it starts to morph and shift when the Earth is ready for the next type of contract. Mm-hmm. But I feel it is not necessarily, if we talk about starseed energy and starseeds and even spirit babies incarnating, it's not like I look at, say, a crystal child being a certain type of starseed race. I look at it as being a contract or a purpose that possibly they were sent down to do. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So it's just a label, but not necessarily a species.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I got it.
So we have the opportunity, and I don't know if, and so the reason why I think it's important we talk about that, because I don't think really people look at it that way. They think it's like more of a, that's where I come from, or that's what I am, but it's at any time you can break that contract or shift and morph it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Which is, I think, why we see some indigos morph and shift and change into some crystal children or crystal children energy. So they've gone from, I'm a little bit more resistant, I'm here to break the laws, the rules, pave the way, and they're a little bit more powerfully leadership driven to, okay, I've done that. Let me morph into this new contract. I can let go of that when I've done my job. Now I can just be in the crystal energy, which is just sharing, which is just spreading.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And this happens during your incarnation here on Earth.
Yeah.
You can switch missions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially if, that imprinting is complete. Why hold it in anything, good or negative? Why would we hold anything longer than we have to? If it's a karma that we've come in that's possibly negative or positive, if it's run its course, we're here to shift and change. We can, in our free will, do that, neutralize it, and then move into another contract.
So are there just like different types of beings that are being incarnated here within, like, say, the last century or though? Because it seems like, you know, for time immemorial on Earth here, like it's been pretty like heavy, you know, negative, intense, patriarchal, like hardcore, like a certain type of energy. And now things are moving very, very quickly. There's a lot of change. There's a lot of tech, like just huge, huge leaps and jumps in our species. Is there a reason for that, like spiritually, or like what's your insight on that?
Yeah, I would say that it's like, it's almost like if we think of the earth holding a certain pattern or a coding of its own ascension, it's opening up, or it's also shifting to allow it to happen in us. Like we're also finally getting the message. And if we're getting the message and the earth is in its own coding is propelling also a message, those spirit babies that are going to come in are like, I'm going to come in faster or more, or because there's a new mission here on earth, or we're entering a new time on earth that the earth has a certain coding for. So I'm going to pick that up as I come in and incarnate here to continue on and to continue forward. So I think it's all about, I hate to use this overused word, but it is a lot about ascension. And there's always a reason to experience, I'm hearing extreme polarities, to be in a really heavy, dense, earthly environment. We kind of, in a way, went through a little bit of that with COVID, but also with COVID came a lot of shift and changes to come out of that density if we wanted it to, if we have opened up and reached and grabbed that opportunity. So to create ascension, we need to probably also experience both a really heavy, dense environment to also a really light, playful ascension, healing environment. So I think if we've come from extreme density, we might now be going into a complete opposite of really highlighting the lightness or the healing. And there's a lot of that polarity work that happens in the galactic energy as well. And so, you know, if our earth is starting to feel a little bit more buoyant or light and there's movement, certain races will be attracted to the incarnation because they feel like it's open, like they can be accepted by earth at this time. And it really imprints their DNA in those first many months of development in the womb. So that's why some women experience a delayed conception if they're trying to call in a baby that isn't in alignment with where the earth's energy is currently at, where the coding of what the earth is holding. Those babies go, yeah, that's going to really interfere with how my DNA sets up in those first few months of development. So I'm going to wait. So then they kind of delay their conception. And then another race sort of goes, well, this is exactly what I'm looking for. The lightness, the healing, the, you know, ascension period. I'm here to really support that. So they'll be attracted to that. And it really then ignites in the earth's coding to their DNA. So that when it's time for them as they age here on earth to remember that, they go, oh, there's my purpose. It's igniting. And I'm going to follow through in whatever capacity that's going to take me in. Again, granted, some of the way you grow up, the way you're parented might really structure how you want to outplay that here on earth. But nonetheless, you're still going to feel calling to do it. And then you'll feel restless until you do it. essentially. You'll feel like I'm missing something. I'm not in my full purpose. And when we feel that way and we harbor in that, it takes a lot of adrenal energy. And so we're tired all the time. We're like, why am I so fucking tired? I swear. It's like
all the time.
Why am I so fucking tired?
Yeah.
And it's because we're not answering sometimes the call and taking the leap of faith to do it. That's been encoded in us from the time that we were in utero.
That's interesting, because I've had, like, I still have, and I hope it's healing. I think it is, but a lot of adrenal issues. And, I had this conversation. I was meeting with some friends earlier today, and I was like, guys, I'm having a podcast today with the spirit baby lady, and it's going to be so great. And like, do you guys have any questions? And one of my friends, her and I have sort of had similar journeys where it's just been like chronic illness from the fucking second we left the womb, and just a lot of trauma, difficult childhoods, drama with parent, that sort of stuff. And she's just like, I just can't get on board with the fact that I chose my mom.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
That's absolute bullshit. Like, why would I choose somebody that did all of this stuff to me and da 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 da? And I'm like, okay, I feel that there's a reason. I know that there was a purpose and that I chose my parents. And even though it's been very difficult, it was for a reason. I'm still not sure why. Like, I think it was because I was supposed to, experience a lot of pain in this life in order to help others in some way. But yeah, like, it's interesting because now it seems like so many people, so many women are struggling with fertility issues, when in the past it was like, oh, no big deal. We were just all incarnating into trauma and, whatever. And now it's almost like, no, we're going, like, the generations that are coming in now are just like, we're going to wait a little bit until you guys get your shit together.
Yeah. And that is also so free will of that spirit. Yes. But also, again, where our consciousness is at, where they know where our species can go. And so because of that, they're like, I don't want to come in with as much karma. And so sometimes it's about clearing the spirit baby, still clearing their karma. And I can sometimes see it. So if I'm seeing a spirit baby and they've got karma, you can usually tell right away. Like, they're just withdrawn. They're not in the usual playful energy of a spirit baby. So sometimes it's about helping them clear that so that they aren't going to bring that into this life in a major way. But also it can be the other way where, the parents are holding a lot of maybe ancestral grief or ancestral trauma, or possibly their own, or even just the foundation for which the egg and sperm are going to meet. So really the consciousness of the embryo isn't in their alignment yet. So that could indicate possibly that the partners, the two parents, again, whether that's donor or, just a chosen partner or a romantic partner, that could be misaligned to the point where they're like, no, you need to figure that out, because that's going to impact my masculine feminine balance of my embryo. And I, again, don't want that. I'm already coming in with this really clear indication. So I don't want an interference here that's going to mess with that. So they're a bit, more picky energetically. Like they're not picky about their parents. They know, like, there's all these contracts and I want to pick that parent. Or potentially they're like, these are new parents for me. I haven't spent past lifetime with them. Maybe I don't have star karma or star family origins with them, but I know that I can complete what I want to do if I come into that set of parents. I like where they're located in the world. I like potentially what they might offer for my body. They might enjoy the way that they're going to be raised, or they might even know that it will be hard, but they need that in their challenge for something to correct in their own karma. Right. So there's a lot of, I would say a lot. There's some that their energetics are playing out in a different field than fertility, and they conceive very easily. And they're clearing possibly energy, and they have cleared energy in a different way rather than fertility. So there are some that are having no experience with delayed conception. And then you do have some where they're like, we really want to place it in this sort of area of your life of fertility to really clear something in order for me to come in and come through. So I'm like you, I struggled with a lot of chronic illness in my life since 8 years old. And it was a lot of karma clearing, a lot. And I didn't know that at the time, right? You're just struggling. You don't feel well, these things. You're like, why all these? And so as I get more into this and I'm getting older, especially connecting to my star system of origin and some of that energy, I have felt even another layer of healing that has been unlike anything I've experienced. But so I don't know why I went on that tangent, but I think it's also, so what I meant to say with that is that I did so much work, not necessarily in the fertility perspective of things, but I did a lot of work in just my own energy so that when it came time to have kids, it happened fairly easily for me. But I think it's because I did so much work in another area of my life. It wasn't in the fertility realm. It's like I had worked and ascended my energy and opened and did a lot of stuff prior to kids, like including detoxification, which is just a form of releasing old patterns and belief systems and energy, right? So I believe that was a big piece as to why when I went to come in and call in my babies, that it was pretty seamless for me in that time. But I say to people, it's not that I didn't have my struggles, it just was in a different area of my life. We all have it. It's just when you see it in, the unfortunate thing is when we see it in fertility, there's such a pressure of timeline to shift and change because we're on the clock, like society says, we got to have it by this point, or I did meet my person or whatever that looks like, and we wanted babies yesterday and I don't want to wait anymore. So the ego really gets in the way. And then we tend to do things very, we tend to look for healings and do healings in a very egotistical way because we don't have the patience to heal and the authenticity because we just want this end goal. And it's usually not about the end goal, even with fertility.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can imagine like this can be frustrating for women who see like, the teenage mom get pregnant, right? Who's done zero work, probably a ton of trauma, all of the things. And like, so having that awareness of like, okay, I'm going through this process of not being able to conceive, but maybe it's because, well, there's just a reason for it, right? Like there's a reason for everything. Like more and more, I'm just realizing like everything is destiny. Like it's all planned out.
And so, she's, and not saying that her life is going to be hard or easy, but she's attracted in that for some sort of other contract purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, and I'm also very much in the mindset of when we desire something and we're seeing all these people receive it easily is, and then we kind of tend to want to go into a jealousy state or like, oh, they have it and I'll never have it. And it's important to almost like in a way call that energy of what they have in, be around those types of people that maybe are conceiving very easily, because it's a way that they're holding something that's very open in conception energy and alignment without having any interferences. And it's something that possibly your body could learn from. It's kind of like if you were to be around, you're around somebody and they're in a bad mood and you walk away and you're in a bad mood, or you're irritated and you're like, oh, did I pick something? Like, am I picking something up? Like what's happening? It's sort of the same energy. You want to be around somebody who's super in like conception alignment, just naturally or very open. And that 16-year-old could be, doesn't mean that some other area isn't open or that she won't have some other thing come up later. I see a lot of clients who've conceived really early in their years and then, or possibly even have a termination or an abortion and then have so much grief or guilt around that when it comes time to conceiving again, when they're in the proper place for their life, they're like, I feel like I'm blocking it because of my past experiences. Or I assume it's going to be exactly the same, but conception energy can just ebb and flow like that. Your energy ebbs and flows. So you never know how easy someone might be in it at 16 versus maybe even at 24. And this has nothing to do with age or egg quality, you know, or, you know, it could be reproductive health, but that's always consciousness. That's not going to be just a physical issue. That's going to be something else in consciousness.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because, you know, I think a lot of times infertility now, because it is on the rise, right? And it's like we have a lot of toxins in our environment, huge implications with the COVID jabs and stuff that have affected people's fertility. Like those are pretty real things too.
Yeah.
Like, is there any sort of like spiritual connection to that you've discovered?
So back to what I'm like, there's a reason why I talked about the earth coding. And so the earth coding, we just think the earth holds like a mathematical coding. We'll just say it like that, or a language of some sort, or a lightness, or some sort of script. Our immune system stores that. Our thymus gland stores that. So what happened with COVID is it sort of came in and wiped all that out. And then we were seeing people get increasingly sick following COVID. Like we had no immune system. Yes, because it wiped it out. So all of a sudden our immune system goes, I don't know what earth is anymore. Where's my earth? Where's all of the things that I know that make me comfortable on earth, all the pathogens that I'm aware of, or the viruses I've had? It's almost like it clean slated everything. And so we saw people all of a sudden get really sick, like because they had no immune system, no coding anymore. So then we're getting all the flus and colds and viruses. We're having to re-expose ourselves because the earth in its soil every fall gives off a new virus from the fungi. So then we have to retake in all the new coding. So yeah, COVID did a lot. But so on a spiritual perspective, again, if that spirit baby's coming in, it needs to pick up the new coding. So if the mother or potentially the partner, say father energy, doesn't have coding or the right coding in the immune system, it's also a bit of a rejection. So we're seeing a lot of like non-implantations or embryos that just can't implant right now because there's no acceptance of it. And there's some even prior to COVID that have had this piece already there. And it's usually also a star system thing and a starseed thing where we actually just reject Earth and we reject the coding. So if we can't actually be here on Earth, we're going to also, so we'll talk about toxicity in a minute, also coming in and interfering with the coding. But if we're not assimilating to Earth energy and we're not grounded into Earth energy, or we don't feel comfortable here, we fear everything, especially pathogens, viruses, and we fear those things, we're going to probably receive them more, which wipes out our coding even more. So then we have a lot of immune system issues like the autoimmunes and allergies and all these other things. So a lot of repair to the thymus gland and immune system is actually a grounding issue or a relationship with Earth.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so one thing I do with clients is when I'm working on them in my conceptual alignment sessions is recoding or helping their thymus gland recode again to receive where the Earth, and the Earth is constantly updating that. The Earth is in contact with everything else in our star system. She knows. So she's reaching out and everybody's giving new codes to the Earth, and the Earth goes, okay, let me reprogram that. And then if that species or that star system that's trying to come in doesn't agree with that coding or is waiting for more parts of that coding to be completed, not only on Earth or the mother, it's going to wait. Or say the father, even that the father piece. So whether, again, that's donor or that's your partner, it's going to wait because it doesn't want to have a skewed coding system anymore, because the coding is part of the ascension. It's a really important piece. So now we're all fighting to kind of continue our ascension through the jab, through having COVID naturally, and also just as an ascension, just as a species in general, we've always been trying to continue to keep up with the coding. So I look at like toxicity as, an interference on that. It's part of, I almost look at it as like a part of a really 3D, like density off gas or energy that exists here on Earth that we're we don't like it. We can never really acclimatize to it. It's not pure, any toxicity. So whether that's pesticides, the Roundup, then into, mercuries, aluminums, if it is in byproducts that come in through our foods or our vaccinations or whatever that looks like. It's so dense, and it makes our body even more dense. So we can't actually get to, again, unveiling or coding, or even potentially, I'm just hearing them say it creates a blocker barrier between our connection to our DNA. So it's almost there to numb or stifle or shut down the system.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the biggest things I did before kids too was detox. And I'll tell you, the biggest way that I healed most of my chronic illnesses was through heavy detox. I did like years, like a good 2 or 3 years of heavy lymphatic, blood, and cellular detox. And I've never felt more alive in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not supposed to be in dense 3D energy. If the coding of the earth is like, you're supposed to always go more and higher, and we're starting to see things now, and we're getting the frequency, it's going to want to shed it naturally. So we're all probably detoxing naturally. But this is where I also bridge the gap between energy medicine and supplementations and working with somebody, because I do believe those are all gifts here, especially like nice herbal tinctures, like right from our earth she's like giving us the antidote.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, yeah, this does exist here. These chemicals are here. These interferences are here. Here's your antidote. I believe there's an antidote for anything. If we want it, it's there. So it's there to, call us in, heal us using other energetic frequencies to help clear out the lymphatics, clear out the blood. Doesn't just have to be taking something. It can be sweating. It can be sauna. It can be food. If we just start to shift and change our food, our liver goes, oh, I can actually methylate again, right? So then we start to detox naturally. So there's a lot of, but I am a proponent of calling in still the physical support to support maybe something that is still energetically imbalanced. So yes, look at it in consciousness, look at what the connection or miscommunication is, and then also support it with a supplement. Because then I guarantee that supplement or that tincture or that sauna is going to work way better for you. Mm-hmm. Because you know why you're doing it, and you know why the clog or all the toxicity is happening in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's always simple when we have that bigger observation. We go, okay, I get it. The body can start to unwind. Mm-hmm. So and because I believe toxicity is on the rise, maybe potentially just in our own earthly also demise of maybe things we have created in generations over the years and all of those things, and some of it planted, some of it not. I will say that I believe some of it is very much planted to keep us from being clean and clear in our energy and connected to our DNA. Mm-hmm. So it is, I always tell clients, I'm not a medical doctor, so it's very highly advised anybody's detoxing to work with a holistic practitioner of some sort that can also continue to test your organs while you're doing it to see if you need liver support, that you're not overburdening your system as you're detoxing. But I would say it's, hands down the best thing you can do for fertility or health, but fertility especially, because all of that does really interfere at that endocrine level. Mm-hmm. And we see it, we can always see it down the line. We get our weird cycles, we get the clottings, we get immune system issues from toxicity. Then the body, I think it's by stage 3, then we're in autoimmune, depending on how much toxicity we have. And again, I think that this can all be healed. I believe anything can be healed if we want it.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so too. And it takes an entire holistic approach. Yes, the supplements and all the things, but the energetic aspects of it are incredibly important as well.
Yeah. And I've got you ask my husband, he's you open up a health food store. I've got a lot of supplements, and I'm an energetic practitioner. So you think, oh, I shouldn't need it. But I always say to him, I'm always in rotation. I energetically tap in and see, what do I feel called to take? What do you think? I ask myself, what do you think you need today or this week or this moment in time, depending on what my body's been through, right? And then there's some that are just foundational staples that I love to support my body with. And I think that's great. And if I'm noticing, okay, I'm thinking I need to do a detox for something, or I should maybe look at seeing if there's a parasite here, I'm instantly going to go in a meditation and do some consciousness work and see why it's there, so it doesn't come back again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I love that, because that's kind of an approach that I take now too, where I'm guided to certain practitioners to work with. Mm-hmm. I intuitively eat. I intuitively choose the herbs that I'm working with every day. Because same, like, I mean, I own a company called Wild Remedies. We make elixirs and all the things. I have a cabinet just full of like all the things. And now I'm like really getting into wild crafting. So I'm making tinctures and oxymels and all the stuff. And so whatever plant is kind of calling to me, I'm like, okay, I need to work with this. And it's little bits here and there, and juicing different things. And it's just, it's playing, but also I think I've taken a lot of structure out of all of the health stuff that I've been doing, where it was like, I need this many calories per week and I need to be working out this much and like, it was literally making me worse. It was making me so much worse. Mm-hmm. Like I haven't worked out in several months now, also because I just physically couldn't, because I've been working with Kevin, and his tinctures have just been like fucking decimating.
Yeah. But when you're in a deep detox period, it's not about going outside of yourself and exerting. Detox is about going within and seeing, what am I clearing, and holding space for that deep healing process, because it takes a lot on your body to get rid of these things.
Yeah.
To get rid of, and in consciousness, it takes a lot of energy to also let it go. Mm-hmm. So of course, the adrenals would be like, my purpose right now isn't to be in shape and work out and exert energy. I'm here to reserve and preserve my energy, rebuild my energy, and clear.
Yeah.
That's energy. That's a lot of energy too. So this is, and if we didn't listen to ourselves and we push, and how many, times in the past have we pushed beyond it, where it just is many. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I'm done.
The perfection is not worth it.
No. And it wasn't attainable. Like nothing, I wasn't getting the changes that I wanted. And I'm just like, done. Like there's got to be a different way. There's a better way. Like I want ease. I want softness. I'm sick of pushing. I'm like,
come back into your yin.
Yeah.
And that, and wherever you are will serve you if you are going to go into fertility, in your own fertility journey. Learning your yin is the most powerful thing you can do, because when you're coming into conception, or even spirit baby communication, like prior to conception, it's about surrender. It's about sort of being a little bit untethered, going a little higher, in a way slightly ungrounded, because you want to open up your conception cradle. You want to open up your vessel wide. In order to do that, we have to be deeply in our yin. And we hope that our partner can hold a certain amount of masculine balance. Even if our partner is female, if it's male, doesn't matter. They have to hold some element of masculine balance to anchor our conception energy. Because if we're making and creating children with that person, or even through donor, it's like they need to be deep, yes, in that masculine, to give that masculine side to the feminine. But if we're going to continue open and untether ourselves, we need to know that we're held somewhere, that we are grounded somewhere. And it's usually has to come to that other person, because our conception energies mix at that point.
Interesting.
And what's happened is our masculine and feminine energy is so fucked up right now.
Oh my God.
Our society.
It's just wild.
So it's so men
we're not even like people anymore. You can be like a cat now, or like,
well, that's just
like,
it.
What the fuck?
And so and our men are going into this deep feminine, and our women are holding too much masculine. And it's not, when it comes to fertility, it doesn't work like that, because the men are never the vessel. They're never the vessel to hold the baby and to call the baby into that womb space. The woman is. And in order to do that, they have to be in a completely open and surrendered place.
Although there are people that would probably really like to argue that, which is
and that's okay. It's okay. I'm just saying, from the energetic line of what I see, there has to be a certain element where we hold that, to call it in, for the balance of the embryo.
Yeah.
which will set up the balance of masculine and feminine energy for that baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we have lost some of that. So when sometimes we're dealing with delayed conception, I am sometimes working against conception because of that. And we have to rebalance the partners, the male and female energy. And I talk to the client and they're like, I know it's out of balance. I know I hold so much of this organization, busy structure, masculine energy. I don't stop. I can do anything. I push myself. Yeah. Adrenals. And I'm not saying females can't be in their yin and be that busy or anything like that. But if you think of how much trust and a deep trust with your body, your spirit baby, your partner, your current place in earth, the amount of power it takes to be in that amount of trust is incredible to call in that feminine energy. So like sometimes when we think of yin, we think, well, if I go into my feminine, I'm going to be just like, oh, I have to be in surrender and I'm just weak. I'm not powerful. But how much power do you have to hold to actually totally surrender like that and maintain your power structure and trust? That's a lot of power for a yin energy.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that. It's not necessarily the roles that we have to do, but the energy that we hold, we have to be supremely powerful in it.
Mm-hmm.
And try. And when we fully embody trust with something or our body, that's a huge, powerful place. It's just soft. It's a softer power. Then look at me, like I can lift and squat and organize and run around and make all this money and, take care of my family. And those are beautiful pieces. We need all those pieces, but it doesn't create trust. Intimate trust. And if we don't have that, we can't open and surrender and call in our baby properly. The baby goes like, there's no space for me.
Interesting.
Another layer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and to kind of elaborate on that a little bit too, like for anybody who's listening, who's just like, oh, like I don't know how else to be. It's definitely a process that I've been shifting through in the past couple of years. And all I can say is that being in my feminine more and the way that I create now, the amount of magic and momentum and alignment and manifestation that happens just boom, boom, boom. Like this is just wild. Like,
well, because your yin ignites your intuition. It ignites that deep creativity from that sacral chakra. And that's your manifestation. You're embodying your ovaries. You're embodying the deep creative part of you and accepting it and letting it shine, and you're in trust with it. It's deeply powerful, but it isn't overnight. I think, like you said, like it's like for you, it is work. It's a desire to be in that place. Yeah. And know that that's a better way of living for your energy. And your energy has been telling you and probably calling you into it for a really long time, which is why the adrenals are like, I don't want to be in the masculine anymore. Yeah. If we go into the feminine, I'm in sync with this. It's easier for me. It's easier also for my hormones. My hormones don't operate in full masculinity. So I'm going to run out of hormones if I keep running in masculinity because I wasn't meant to. Yep.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Okay. A question that I have listed here that I'm very curious about. Does everyone have a spirit baby or spirit babies, or are some people just not meant to have kids?
Yes. So sometimes we come in with contracts where we don't want to be a parent, or have children, carry children. That's okay. Yeah, you won't. It's rare that I don't see it, but it does, because you could even have a spirit baby there and not want kids, and that's your free will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So spirit babies sometimes even just want to hang out with you because they're your guide. Like when they're in that form, you use them like a guide and connection. That's why it's cool and important to communicate with your spirit baby or to establish a relationship with them, because it's not just about conception. They're like, let me tell you all the cool things about yourself or things that I can help you with. It would just be like Yeah, it would just be like a
Oh.
loved one that passes on, that watches over you. You know, there's grandma. I saw a sign, there she is. So we can use spirit babies that way. And so sometimes if we connect in with them and we're like, no, I don't want kids, sometimes that your mind will get changed, because if they have a strong enough desire to incarnate, they might, like, when they connect to you and they start to put pressure on your energy to be here, you go, gosh, I really want a kid and I don't know why. I really
Mm.
want a child. I don't know. I never wanted one before. Now I do. And it has nothing even to do with meeting somebody. It's just there. And it's because a spirit baby's attached.
Mm.
So so that is one thing. There are some that, yeah, don't have spirit babies. You can call them in. So if you changed your mind again and you felt like I didn't have a spirit baby, I'm not calling them, or I didn't feel like they were there, you can call them in. I had a client who was like ho hum about kids. If it happened, it happened. If it didn't, no big deal. And I was doing just a general body talk session with her. And I was like, you have a spirit baby here, this baby boy spirit baby. She goes, huh, interesting. And I was like, yeah, that is interesting. It doesn't really seem to be super connected to, but it's here. We just observed it. It was, you know, she wasn't like, okay, I'm in a relationship, I want to conceive it. And then about a year later, she met somebody. And as soon as she met that person, and so we're doing another session, as soon as she met that person, I was like, well, this is his spirit baby. So like the
Oh.
spirit baby was with her, like was integrating with her, because it probably knew this coupling is coming together. So they're still on the fence about having children. They might not. And there's a spirit baby hanging around here. So that spirit baby has the opportunity to leave and go find somebody else to incarnate
Mm-hmm.
with, if it really wants to. And it could, if it wants to be close to that couple or that, you know, pod of people that it knows, it might say still come in the family somehow. So maybe like a brother or a sister's child, and then you become aunt and uncle.
Oh.
It could also be, maybe it could come incarnate someone you don't even know, but then you meet them later in life and you're like, man, I love their child so much. I don't know why. Get
Mm.
along with them so well, so familiar. So that can be a way that a spirit baby might come in just to be with you if you don't want a parent, or they just don't incarnate at all. It's not important for them, and they'll just stay with you or follow you until maybe possibly the next round.
Interesting.
And then I have people who have like 2 or 3 kids, and then they feel done, and then a spirit baby comes to them years later and they have a 4th child because the spirit baby came in later. So they don't always come in, you know, at 20 years old or in the teens, or, you know, right before you're about to conceive either. They can come in, I think I'm done, there's nobody here, and then bam, there's a spirit baby, and you go, oh gosh, is this, I'm supposed to I'm supposed to have another baby. And then I've even had clients who've had spirit babies that feel guilty they never conceived, that they never had children. So we work with the grief around that, and possibly me helping them through different ways that they can look at their spirit baby at this point, knowing that that chapter is closed. Maybe it's because of age, or just they really know, I don't want that. We look at alchemizing that relationship, or just observing it and realizing that it isn't just always about conception with spirit babies.
Mm. A thing that I always remembered from one of Dolores Cannon's books was that she talks about that if you have a baby here on Earth, it's guaranteed karma that you come back. Is that true?
I look at it, if it's still, so say if you had, which we most of the time we always create karma in something, right? So every moment we're creating energy in something, and if it doesn't feel completed to us, there's an open-end charge, which is what karma is. And so if you decide to have a child in this lifetime, and you do, you know, perhaps, you know, it was a really smooth, beautiful relationship, and you end it, and you end of life, you had these things, and you ended it well, they didn't feel like any outstanding karma. I believe that it could just be fine, could be over, if that was going to be your last sort of life, if you will. But I always say, if you are new together, you have created karma to potentially, not karma, but you've added somebody to a bit of like what we call your soul pod, which just means that you could possibly want to come back and be with them again. So an example of this would be, and this might be kind of how it answers your question, the way I work with it or see it, is that spirit babies don't always link to people they know. Sometimes, like we talked about, they'll link in and come into individuals or an individual who they've never had a life before. They might not even be from the same star system. It's just new, but potentially what they're offering lines up with their contract. And so they come in and then you're new together. So all of a sudden you're agreeing in contract to, potentially have now a soul connection or potentially karma. We could say karma is good or bad. Okay. But potentially have karma with this person that you could now forever, for as long as you keep incarnating, be in contact with this soul somehow, or have more lives with them. Like you're almost creating a tether or a bond. Whereas if you're calling in a baby that you've already had past lives with, you're just continuing. And sometimes karma will unfold in this life from that, good or bad. Or sometimes there like actually is no karma and then this life creates karma.
Yeah.
Right. So what was your original question?
Like if there's guaranteed karma to like keep coming back to Earth.
I don't think I think the way I interpret it is that I believe that if your soul chooses to come back, it can then choose to be or might be now adding in this new soul that you met in your last life. I don't think it means that just because you have kids, it tells your soul that you're coming back.
Okay.
For a lifetime. Something about that doesn't sit right with me.
Okay.
So I don't think it could be.
Because that kind of takes away that free will aspect.
Totally. And what's to say that you aren't ascended enough or the earth isn't ascended enough that you complete all your karma with that child in this lifetime and then you die. And there is no karma with that soul. You just decided to have an experience with them, but it was all wrapped up. Because what if we get to a place where we elevated enough that we aren't in karma anymore? So I don't know. To me, that feels too cut and dry. All I know is that I see spirit babies that come in. And it's funny that you brought that up because I have heard that before. And I also felt weird about it. It made me feel slightly weirded out.
Okay.
But all to say, I have seen it where you enter into a new contract with a new soul you've never had time with before. And from there, it can create karma, which means in future lives, you might be always in and out of now this person's life.
Okay.
So this is another piece. What if you completely did cut ties, right? What if so again, back to free will, because we could say that about children, but we could say that about anything. Like if I have a partner, I have a husband, and what if we finally reached our finality and in spiritual ceremony, I said, never again am I going to spend time with this person? What if I actually really cut a complete contract? Like, can we do that? Just playing that devil's advocate. So if you kind of had a child, what if there was a complete falling out? What if what if they emancipated? Is that what it's called? Like completely from their parents? And they had a breakup and this deep contract said, no more am I going to be with this person. And they actually break the spiritual bond, not just the physical. I'm not with you. What if there's especially if they've healed enough and they've observed and they understand why it all happened and they've let it go. And there's been some deep work with that and spiritual release. What if there is no bond? Who's to say then that you don't ever come back with that person again or ever are involvement, or you might see them in the next life from a distance. I do know that person, but for some reason, something is telling me not to go there. and you walk away. So you have a brief moment of recognition of soul to soul, but you don't get involved because you know you've ended something.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what's coming in as we're talking about this for me. And recently, I've been playing around with the idea that I think a lot of these more written contracts, so say like a divorce or things like that, feels a little bit like, especially when we divorce, but we're still friends with, say, an ex or whatever that looks like, is divorce sometimes feels like that's an end of a contract. We'll never do that again. We might come back in another life as something else, but I don't think we'll ever marry. Like we've kind of created a really end note of contract.
Interesting.
Yeah. That didn't work. Never again. Let's really make it final. So if I see you again next time, maybe we'll just be friends.
Oh my God. I don't know if I should share this or not. It's kind of like, it's intense, but
if you feel, yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's just kind of like a weird thing to share publicly, but like,
I see your wheels turning. I need to know.
Okay. So, I was in a really tumultuous relationship with an individual, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago. It was rough. Like it wrecked me spiritually, physically, emotionally. It was really tough. And I was speaking to a medium about it. And she was like, oh, yeah, there's some karma here. She had like this pendulum and she was swinging it and like all of these really like terrible words. Like it was a circle with a bunch of words and all these like really horrible words were coming out. And she was like, oh my God, like I feel like puking. This is so horrible. And she's like, in a past, she's like, it was a really, 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 really long time ago. She's like, there's just a little bit of karma. She actually told me like the percentage of karma that was attached to this individual. And she's like, in a past life, a very, very long time ago, you, meaning me, I was the husband. This guy that I was with was my wife. And I was like so severely abusive, like sexually abusive, physically abusive, emotionally abusive, all of this stuff to the point that she killed herself. And so this person is now back in my life to like torture me up a little bit, like as a little bit of payback.
Make it even. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, what? Right. And like, thankfully I had read all of like the conversations with God stuff and kind of had this idea of like, we have experienced everything, right? Like the soul is here to just incarnate over and over again to experience everything. So we've been life givers, we've been life takers. Like
totally.
If you're in this incarnation and you think like you've never done gnarly shit in past lives, like
yeah,
you have. We've all done.
Oh yeah, I saw myself kill my brother once, so it's all
really
good.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, why does he? It's like, oh gosh, he might listen to this. I don't think I've ever told him this. I was like, why? I was like, why do I feel like he doesn't like me sometimes? And then I did a like big regression of myself, took myself, and I was like, oh, I would hate myself too. Anyways, keep going. I was like, well, that makes sense, like, yeah. So yeah, it's like, so I love that you said that because it's like, who are we to judge the bad?
Yeah. Well, but I was just thinking, I'm like, well, shit, like if you have a negative experience with somebody in a life, like, are they going to come back and like, it's going to be another negative experience? Like,
no, but it's probably you both didn't resolve the karma.
Clearly. I mean, I was a nasty motherfucker and I definitely deserved a little bit of payback.
Right. So like, just say if in this life we maybe created karma and we didn't, maybe we bullied somebody or we did something and we didn't make it right or, whatever that is, then yeah, there's technically that charge. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's tit for tat, that like next time now you're going to be bullied. But what if it leads into a deep self-confidence issue of like the bullying suppressed or manifested its way maybe in that life or the next life of like a really deep seated confidence issue or self-acceptance? right? So sometimes it doesn't have to be to fully experience it, but it could have been that you needed to fully experience it for whatever reason. And part of me is also feeling like you got to experience what was also important in that to experience was the suicidal part. So I'm not saying, so what I mean by that is because when we flip-flopped, so now you're in this life and you're in the female position of being, you know, abused and receiving the abusive, it also probably triggered you to remember in time and space, even though you weren't the female in the past life, but to embody what she would have felt like, including suicide. So it probably messed with you in a mental capacity also in that way, to recognize what it's like to maybe fight for your life or to make it neutral from a mental perspective of suicide and depression.
Oh, 100%. I'm also a Pisces moon. So like,
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And there are lots in this lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah. So
always want to be dead.
I think you were neutralizing some of that for your own energy to go, oh, this is what it's like to fight back, to not, even if somebody pushes me down or I am down, this is what it's like to come back again without giving up. So, and then that other person probably has to learn also that, what's it like to live through something and not give up? Because I probably guarantee that your partner probably had some trauma when they were a kid and trying to learn, and they're trying to learn through it. And how do I move through it without killing myself like I did last time? But how do I move through it without being angry and learning, you know, maybe abusive patterns and whatnot? So it's kind of a way that it kind of teaches you multifaceted. It's your own experience, but also now you're put in the hologram of the person who was abused last time. So you probably wore some of his energy in the past life. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
You were probably carrying his hologram and yours from that past life, feeling what he felt like in the feminine, because you're also feminine in this life. So you would have felt that deeply in the feminine. Was your cycle weird at that time? Did you have a weird cycle?
Destroyed. Like my whole autonomic nervous system.
Yeah.
Everything just destroyed. Yeah. I was just in constant fight or flight for like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Survival.
Yeah.
And when you're there, it's hard to process. So it's only when we can kind of get enough momentum to come out and then go back and process. And that's, I think, also the beauty of like quantum time, is that if the karma is still there, it's still cellular. We're still living it, which is in a way a good thing, because it means it's just like ripe and juicy for us to surface and clear. You know, nothing has an expiry.
Yeah.
So we digress, but it does open up a lot of conversation around it. And I love Dolores Cannon, and I believe there could be some truth to that. But I don't know. I don't like to go totally definitive, because I think we never know what could ebb and flow and change and shift, not only in our free will, but also like, what if we thought it was, I'm out, I'm not incarnating anymore, and then we're back where we are in beautiful fairy stardust, and they're like, well, this new thing's happening on Earth. We're like, well, I wasn't going to go, but maybe I'll go now for this. Like, what if there's still like that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I kind of feel like it is sometimes. I'm so curious. Like, I would love to book a session with you and be like, where, you know, I'd love to know kind of where I'm from. I remember my parents or my grandma saying, she's like, you know, like back in the 80s when babies were born and they'd put you in that bassinet and like people would just stare at you from behind glass. Well, my grandparents were doing that. And my grandma was like, you were laying in that little bassinet. And she's like, I don't know how you did this, because babies can't actually do this. But she's like, you lifted your head up and you looked right at us and you scared the living shit out of me. And when I look at all of my old baby photos, like, I look mad. Like, I do not look like I fucking wanted to be here. I was just like, I'm very scowly.
Yeah, that's so funny. Well, it's like funny because I tap into your energy. You fall a lot. So how I read it is like kind of very much like a rainbow spectrum. I'm like, where in this rainbow spectrum of energy, so super dense to super light, where is she falling, and then kind of going into and then in those densities I've placed all the different star systems. So you go kind of up to the center and slightly to the left. So that's my way of reading a lot of Arcturian energy and even some Sirian energy.
Oh, that's
So
funny. I get Arcturian from mentors. Yeah, I've heard that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So but it's kind of in between. So
Mm-hmm.
you're quite Arcturian. There's a lot like anchored here, but I always say it like this with star system energy is it's the how I metaphorically explain it is that we might be born somewhere here on Earth, right? So I'm from Vernon. I was actually born and raised here, but I mean, ancestrally, and I've got lots of European roots. And when I travel and I really like a place, like, and I've stayed there long enough, I'm like, I've had experiences here now. I've left a little piece of me here, or I've brought a piece of that home with me. So now, yes, I have a home root, but I'm also a part of a lot of different areas in the world that I have grown from, or they've given me an experience, or I've maybe gone and maybe did some service work somewhere. I've spread my energy. And so the galactic energy is a lot like that. There can be a little bit more of like say a birth root, or maybe a little bit more of an origin that we're really, really like ingrained in, or our structures more like that, our DNA is more like that. But we could have spent time in different other areas to work, to mend, to heal, to learn. So we go to different areas, and depending on how much time we've spent there, and if we go back and forth there a lot, in a way, we're also a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not to say we just have one influence. We can kind of have multiple, and sometimes they're more highlighted in our astrology for this lifetime. So we are born into certain astrologies and times and timelines to activate more origins that we want to pull on and use in our purpose.
Mm.
But
Wait, so like where you come from can be seen in your astrology?
oh yeah. Yeah, I'll
Wow.
sometimes run astrology reports, but and I'm not an astrologer. I don't go into it a lot because, and the reason is when you go into astrology and I start to look at it, most people have a lot of the original seeding, which is Orion and Lyra. So when you go, because most souls came from there. And
Yeah.
then they, kind of sprouted out. And, if we want to say everyone moved around and set up new communities and did things, and maybe more souls were birthed from that or created from there. But most of us will still have a lot of deep links to Orion and Lyra because it was a start from somewhere. So when you go into astrology, it will hold a lot of that. And I tend to not like to be super structured when I'm reading intuition. I like it to just come in. So I like to create my own way of reading the energy. If I've learned enough about it and I know how each star system starts to feel to me, then I prefer to link a client into that, because it's more important that you link into the energy that you're holding more so in this life, rather than say, oh, we all originated from Orion, so I should just go there. It's like, we should go into where we're super highlighted in this life, or maybe where our DNA is held most, where our soul possibly spends the most time, or has a deeper origin. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So I would also I don't know if you meditate or soul travel a little bit, but not only to go into the Arcturus area, but to look into travel a little bit over to Sirius. They worked a lot together, Sirius and Arcturus. The Sirian energy has a lot of spiritual wisdom. They've got a lot of, like, well, you want to call them like spiritual universities. But the Arcturus energy, they're holistic healers. They're always going to be drawn into the holistic healing, and they're here really to merge that physical and spiritual, mental, emotional body, and really create cohesive alignment there. So it makes sense in what you're doing also with your remedies, being a part of this. They're also hugely heart-centered people. So know, for you, if your heart center is not operating and it's not safe, when we talked about that relationship, like, yeah, you're hooped. You're going to be like, I'm missing my main brain.
Interesting.
But I suggest travel a bit to Sirius, see how that feels.
I didn't know how. I'm new to this.
I could take you there. We'll go
Okay.
together.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We'll go
I
together.
love this.
And that's so part of what I do in my spirit baby work is connect clients back to where they come from to ignite something in that immune system as well, to get them anchored there and here. Because usually we can't anchor here if we don't know where we don't remember where we're coming from. So we're like, I know I'm not supposed to anchor on Earth. I know it's not my home. So all of us starseeds here are just like, again, I'm mad. Why the fuck am I here? And then we have karma. And then we're even more mad and we're more angry at the Earth. And we go, so we have to make amends for all that. And we go, okay, yeah, that's right. I chose to be here and all these things. But starseeds usually just don't feel at home. They're always in homesickness. So it's important to recalibrate the system in the DNA by re-anchoring back home. And when we do that, it instantly creates a better vibration in our body, which our spirit babies go, oh, I'm attracted to that. Especially the spirit babies I'm working with, which are coming from that type of realm. Right. And so sometimes our spirit babies are from the same pod or origin, if you will, and sometimes they're not. And I encourage, or I take clients to go and kind of assimilate to possibly the energy that they're holding from their origin.
Is everybody a starseed?
Honestly, I believe we all have that coding or DNA properties, but, and I haven't done a lot of channeling on this, but it's so funny you ask that, because I do ask that a lot every day. Aren't we all just starseeds?
Yeah.
But I also hear there's a huge angelic realm. And
I definitely have earth angels in my life, for sure.
And they're not, they're different. And I believe spirit babies come from there too. That there's incarnation from the angelic realm as well. I don't think the angels are, there's many levels of angels. I love the angels, the archangels, working with different masters. I love it. And masters don't necessarily mean angels, because I've worked with not just archangels, but say like I channel Merlin a lot. I look at him as like a master Merlin. And so he's in the Galactics a lot. So they interchange, but I believe there's a lot of hierarchy or roles in the angelic realm. And then I think there's still some angels who are in angelic realm that incarnate still.
Really?
Yes.
And like, do they come as like ascended masters or something? And like
possibly maybe major spiritual leaders.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spiritual leaders that get brought down in this life. Angelic energy is a hard one to protect here. So I feel like they can get persuaded. And I almost am hearing, like, I don't want to say it like so negatively, but in a way taken down, like losing their wings essentially. So it is a harder place, but I'd like to work more with my guides in that area. But where my spirit babies, I say my, because I feel like I'm their like aunt to everybody, where my spirit babies come from, where they show me is all of these ether areas. I never really go into the angelic realm for spirit babies.
Interesting. Okay.
But I do think they incarnate. Something in me tells me they incarnate. So I'd be curious to pop into that.
That's so cool.
And then there's a part of me that is like, is there somewhere else? Right?
Yeah.
That we're not seeing, that there's incarnation coming from. Like, I'm not sure.
And so what's your perspective on like what Earth is, right? Because like some people are like, oh, it's like a low density school and it's just like really hard. But we have like especially right now, there's like this whole line, like it's such an honor to be here because there's, massive lineups of souls that just wanted to incarnate at this time to see this fucking shit show, basically. I don't know.
You know what? I actually think it's the big experiment.
Hmm.
So I think it actually started as experiment. I'm not sure if they didn't think, I think what happened is when we started to seed and all of this happened was, kind of like, okay, I think we might have got it right. And it's sort of like, in a way, I feel like it's shocked that we're still going.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, it's still surviving. It's still doing it. And they might actually get the hang of it. And they might actually, get to a point where there's even more unity here than ever before. Like, are we, and so, yeah, maybe a school. But I don't see it. I see it less as that. I see it more as the experiment, a place for us to come in and go, I am supposed to experience hefty polarities, because that's the other thing is I have to remind myself when I come here, like, I'm here to really feel and witness and observe and also enjoy certain things, because that's not the experience when I'm not here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there is a piece where I also look at it as like a gift that we get to have all of our senses ignited this way, but so dense that we still can struggle. And I hate struggles. I hate going through them. I wish I never had to, but I honor the struggles. I've gotten to the point where I've like honored the experience, because it is a chosen part where we get excited to be here. It's funny, my friend Pam,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Pam. She had talked about this really neat piece, and this is what it's reminding me of, is that Earth is the rarity. So we spend more time up in the ethers as a soul, maybe every 100, 200 years or whatever, we're like, okay, let's come back. But we're actually in more time off Earth than we are on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is the rarity, because we want to really have the experience and we've gotten an opportunity to do it, we found our way in, we've been able to reproduce and incarnate, look what we've built. And I've chosen to be here to continue to experience and have it all. So why not, enjoy it? Why not go, okay, this is the rarity. Let me enjoy my ice cream today, have this coffee. Gosh, I'm going through pain. This is really hard. Let me honor the hardness, but also let me observe it, because I can now. So it doesn't have to be so prolonged in my sadness. So when she kind of said that, I was like, oh yeah, that is so interesting to go, this is the delight. This is the rarity.
Yeah. What about, okay, sorry, we're like over time, but I'm just so
That's
curious.
okay.
Like, do you have a hard stop or anything?
For time? I just have a client at 6.
So we're almost there. Okay.
Yeah, I can also text her and say 15 more minutes. I'll tell her it'll be 15 more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, 2 more questions.
Yes, please.
Okay. One of them being like, okay, so there are people who incarnate here that just have it like real rough, like born to someone who lives on the street, like, those children in India where the parents like purposely maim them in order to like make money off them, like that kind of shit. Like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. Like, where's the gift in that?
Yeah, no, I hear you. And so whether that child or that soul survives that and gets, say to the end or finds their peace and looks, obviously in the hindsight during, not so much, but in the hindsight, if they found that, amazing. But it's still a soul contract to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might not see the bliss, but what if they're also maybe a newer soul? What if that's maybe multiple lifetimes that they finally come back and then they see the gift? It doesn't necessarily, there's no way to say that, right in this moment in this life, we're always going to see it, or that if we're having a really hard time, that we have to see it in that moment if we're not holding this type of belief system or even consciousness around spirituality. But there's still a place in everybody to honor where we are. It has to. That is, in a way, it's a universal law. And if we don't, we exit. If we don't honor and hold the space, we leave. We kill ourselves. We die. Our soul just says, get me out of here. And we slowly maybe poison ourselves and we have an accidental death, whatever, we leave. But then we'll come back again and go, okay, can I find the beauty this time? Can I work through a little bit more? Can I maybe not pick such a shitty experience? Or do I have to clear as much karma? Or maybe I won't take so much on. Because that's the other thing when you say like people that have it really bad is that, yeah, they have signed up for a lot. Partially because they could or maybe newer, or they're getting to the end and they're like, let's wrap this game up. Let's finish this. So let's get it completed. You, in your contract, you have that ability to be like, I'm going to do this much or not, and a lot of, I will say, if we go into a lot of suicide is, I took way too much on and I can't handle it. What was I thinking? And because we possibly don't remember, we don't know how hard I want to go and experience. I want to, do all these things. And I'm thinking I can do it. Let's do it. And then we get here and we're like, what was I thinking? This is hard. And I'm not finding the beauty. I don't have support coming in that helps me to get off the street, or that helps me to survive here. I don't have a person, I don't have something, or possibly I'm so closed that I can't even allow somebody in to help me. It was partially also my fault. So all of these things can lead up. So a lot of, when I read suicide or even mediumship with suicide, it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't handle it. Like it was too much for my soul. I took on way too much. And it's like, I didn't know how to neutralize my karma. I didn't know how to neutralize my karma without having to go through it. I thought I had to go through it all, and I started to go through it all. And that's the other thing, is sometimes when we as souls come in, we are like, let's get it all done by 20. And the rest of my life will be pretty good with a few little pockets of things. And so we have sometimes these high structured, times of deep karma where we're like, why is it year after year? And I think a part of it makes me feel like it's the soul saying, let's get it done rather than spread it out. And I think sometimes in our own free will, we allow karma to go on way longer than its end game. There's karma that could have been over quick, but sometimes we don't have the, again, ability, the consciousness, the awareness, or the allowance to end it. We can't observe it. We don't know why it's happening. So we can't work through it. So then we just are stuck in the karma. We're stuck in the programming and we can't get out of it. And I believe that's also what happened to my health stuff. I got stuck in it. I don't think it was meant to be there for 20 years. It was like, I think it started and it spiraled, and then it continued to spiral. Then I couldn't get out of it. And then we're sensitive souls, we're these, we're like, what the fuck is happening? And then you kind of sink into it. Your body chemistry can't keep up. So then you get depressed with it. And then you for sure can't be like, I can't clear my karma. Right. So it's also just a lack of sometimes tools, honestly, and the belief system and awareness, or the support for people to help to shift it. So it's a hard and fast, life when we've taken on a lot like that. Can feel slow, but it is a hard and fast life, because there's no breaks, there's no reprieve. And I've seen many souls that hold that, but it's also partially because they're stuck in it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's felt like for me at times, for sure.
Yeah.
And this is why we need to find amazing energy healers like yourself so that we can clear this shit.
And clear it. But that's also my belief in free will. It's like, oh, we don't have to live with it. We can clear our karma. We can be like, oh yeah, that was my imprint here. And it says to do this and this and this. Well, we don't need to carry that imprint forever. It's, if
that'd be dope. Because it's like fucking exhausting, you know, like I'm done with chronic
Yeah.
health stuff. I'm
Yeah.
over it. No more, thank you.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And I had a friend once tell me, it just kind of hit me. She's like, yeah, it's interesting because like how you see some souls not actually have chronic illness. Like they don't really feel anything in their body, but yet they have karma going on in their life, maybe like emotional or other mental pieces of karma. So maybe like that might look like abuse or something, but they don't actually feel it in their physical body. And she's like, you really feel everything in your physical body. Hey, like, because my body's so this way today, this way the next day, you know, and I'm like, man, I do. It's like I pull it right down into my physical body. So there's a part of that where I'm like working on that, but I'm also like, maybe that was part of my contract here to really feel the energy. So I just have to be really careful with the energy I surround myself with, and that I'm clearly aware of something that is misaligned energetically so I can correct it before I really feel it physically. You know what I mean? And you might be very much the same way.
Yeah,
Let's
I think
pull
so.
it right down into the physical and really have this experience like gung-ho. And then we're like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I'm happy to just be even keel my physical. I've really felt myself physically. I know every dynamic of my body. I've had to listen to it at such lengths, such depths, you know, and you really learn that pattern. It's like, okay, I've done that. So how can I switch that filter a little bit? Because that's, you know, not something I really want to do all the time. I don't want to feel everything in a misalignment or an illness. I'm fine if it's like I can process it quickly by crying or laughing or, you know, having a little bit of anxiousness or excitement. Like I want to feel, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to store it or embody it if it's a big misalignment anymore or karma.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, girlfriend. Woof.
Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. All right, last question.
Yes.
I don't know if you can do this right on the spot. I've never really been called to like have kids ever, but I'm curious if you can see any sort of spirit baby stuff going on for me.
Yeah, let's do it. And do you have a current partner?
No.
Okay, so let's see if there's one presenting here. It's actually a boy that's come in, and it's a boy that has, so the way I read gender is usually about 99% of what I see can be conceived. Spirit babies, again, free will. Maybe everyone's going to get $1 every time I say free will in this episode, but you know, in their free will, they have that opportunity, or they can incarnate into an opposite body type. Like they could come in the gender as female. So until there's pregnancy, then we kind of just still confirm the spirit baby. But yeah, the spirit baby comes in. You know what I'm kind of seeing him with? It's like really straight brown hair. And it almost reminds me of being in a little bit of like an old school mushroom cut, a little bit.
Okay.
It kind of comes down and goes down like this. He hangs out actually around, like, I'm also seeing him kind of come into the back of your head and around your neck and shoulders. So he makes, and he just leaned over and whispered. So he makes me feel like he tries to talk to you. So what sometimes, if our clear audience isn't turned on, spirit babies will communicate in a lot of different ways. But sometimes if we can just feel or visual or actually just call them in, and if we get a visual of them, we can see them just talking to us, like you and I having this conversation, but it happens in the brain, like literally in like a daydream, if you will.
Yeah.
He's dressed fairly normally. So I always like to just tap into that, because if they're dressed weird, sometimes that can be indicative of past life stuff or just energy that they residually carry. So I'm seeing him just dressed pretty normally. He's also saying no rush, your decision, your decision. So if you've ever been, or if you have been even on the fence around possibly having kids, or feeling like you were supposed to have them yesterday or something in that, he's kind of saying like, don't worry about it. Like, don't rush for me. Sometimes when all of a sudden we know and they show up and there's an awareness to them, then we feel almost a little bit in our human mind angst to get them here. So then we're like, oh my gosh. And do I have them by myself? Do I have to quickly call and get a partner? And then it becomes about having a child. And he's like, I don't want you to do that. So he's really he's really cautious about putting too much pressure on you versus not enough pressure to also kind of stimulate maybe the purpose or the question with him. He wants to just have some fun, he said. Can we just have more fun? So I'm also seeing, so sometimes with spirit babies, they, when they're again in this realm, they bring a really deep kind of playful energy, very similar to inner child energy. And he's taking both your hands and he wants to dance with you, almost like he wants to do like a circle dance. Like it's like he's almost singing like Ring Around the Posy. Was it Ring Around the Posy?
Ring Around the Rosie, yeah.
Around the Rosie.
Yeah.
He's kind of wanting to, funny enough, kind of is, as he's taking your hands, I hear that chanting or that song happening as well. So he says, so he's also saying, move into a little bit more play. That will also help balance your adrenals and your healing. Move into a little bit more play. Where in your life, not even necessarily you can do it with him in meditation, but where in your life can you also add more play to break you out of, I almost want to say, to break you out of like your strong focus. You have a really strong focus, he says, which is like a beautiful personality that you have. It's like your enemy, but also your strong point. Because he says you're strong, you're very strongly focused. And then when you see something with an end goal, you're like, I won't break it for anything. And he goes, I love that. But he says, let it be known that it can still be safe to have that end goal while having fun and play in your life. And then it won't feel like you're sacrificing your whole life for this end goal. And if you don't get there when you want it, you're going to be irritated about it. And then you feel like you've wasted your life. Does that make sense?
Yep. Sure does.
So if you add play, that's also a piece of going like, I'm going to enjoy Earth here. It's not just about every single purpose of why I'm coming in here. Let that continue to flow. He's like, you have enough energy to allow your purpose to continue to unfold. Like you have enough manifestation for it to unfold, to allow yourself off the hook once in a while to go and play, or to just set it in motion and not hold it so hard. Set it in motion and then play.
Cool.
So he can help you with that. So that's this part where it's like, if we're not going to conceive them anytime soon, we'll like look at all the information and messages he just wanted to download for you and help, maybe trigger your energy into this. So we can ask them, we can have them, just by asking, influence our energy if we allow it. So that just you might start to feel different one day, or be like, oh, I'm having the idea to do this. Wonder where that came from. It's like, oh, spirit baby, the same way you would ask your other guides for help or for integration, you would use him.
I love, does he have like a name or anything?
Let me see. Sometimes I'll get names. He's coming actually into an A name. So the way I read names is usually the first letter of the alphabet will pop into my energy really strong, and then I'll hear a name. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be that name, but it can be the phonetics of that name. So I heard something like Aiden, or could be like it goes aid, and then it goes into something else, or it could embody the den. It could even just be Aiden. You could just refer to him as Aiden. If that's the name that we're phonetically hearing, you could just refer to him as that for now. And you look at it as just a spirit baby name.
Yeah.
When you anchor with certain things, so I'll give you a few more anchors to do. When you anchor with your spirit baby and you, in a way, humanize them with a name, it just helps you to go, okay, there they are. They exist. Now I'm feeling a little bit anchored to them or close. And so another thing that you can do is getting like an item for him. So you could, it could literally be a baby item, but it could also be a crystal. It could be a statue. It could be anything that you see that you go, this reminds me of him.
Yeah.
Or this reminds me of this soul. And then, sorry, he's like, it says all things like when I start to channel, it's like broken because it's like, okay, this, oh wait, just a minute. What is he coming into? He's just coming into a bit of origins. Yeah. So he comes into a little bit of Lyran energy. Lyran energy is interesting because they're a little bit like lioness, they can be a little bit of driven in nature too, which I think is why he's talking about your driven nature, and he can balance it for you because he's coming from energy that is a lot like that. And there's just a lot of power in those individuals as well. But I also read sometimes Lyran energy as sometimes holding some also beautiful feminine energy. So I love that he's in this masculine where he's presenting in a masculine, but still there's a softness to his power, which we talked about in this whole episode. So that's really interesting. Anyways, he just was kind of digressing a little bit. So an item, a name, any type of meditation that you can do on your own is great. I'm going to send you can I send you as a gift, my meditational program?
Sure. Thank you.
12, they're like guided meditations to do with your spirit baby.
Cool.
And you can do them even as a way to manifest into partnerships. So there's one that I do, which is conception contracts, which is about seeing who you're going to be having children with, or who you're trying to holographically call in potentially to expand that part of your life with. And there might be nobody there because maybe you don't really want kids. Maybe there is somebody there that you can bring in holographically and begin to work with them to manifest them into your life for this bigger piece of possibly children or family life. So yeah, so it'll be fun. And because you already do a lot of this work, and there is one that will take you back to your Starseed, your star system of origin.
Cool. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm going to send that to you. It's like 8 hours of listening. So
wow.
Have fun. And there's no pressure of how quick you get to it. Just, yeah, you can have some fun. But so meditating, and then that's why, I did create this for clients, was because I wanted to let them have access in their own home to continue the work and connection and create a little bit of a conception alignment along the way, and personal ascension and all the things that we've talked about already this hour and a half, or has it been an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes? Yeah. Love it. Could keep talking forever. And then the last anchor is conscious daydreaming.
Oh.
So yeah. So just like you would daydream if you were like on vacation somewhere, say if you're just like, oh, it's raining, I wish I was on the beach somewhere, like have my pina colada, the breeze, and you can kind of start to conjure up that moment. It's sort of doing the same. So if you're especially in like maybe conception times, or you just want to integrate the soul deeper into your life because you do eventually want to bring them here earthside, is including them into your life. So throughout the day, you might have a moment where you're consciously daydreaming or visualizing them being with you in that moment. So say if you're cooking dinner, it's sort of like, I want you to take a moment in time to be like, oh, hey baby, there you are right beside me, kind of cooking or keeping me company. Or, maybe in your daydream, you're seeing them make some cookies, or in the daydream, every time you do involve them, they say something to you. Or perhaps they are showing up in a female body, or maybe you're hearing yourself call them a name. It's sometimes more so about the observations that you're gaining from allowing yourself to daydream with the spirit attached to you. That is a form of spirit baby communication. It's giving you deep information. And so people go, am I not just making this up in my mind? I'm like, well, you're utilizing the same spot that you that you meditate out of, or that you would use your intuition out of. And when you've called in your spirit baby and you're well aware and you're really calling out or consciously linking them into your life, or saying, I want you here or involved, or you're calling upon them like a guide, you begin to actually pull them into your conception energy. And then it becomes like really like a biofeedback. If something's this close in your energy and around you in your field, your thoughts are the thoughts of what's around you, of the energy that you hold of what's there. So yeah, you're like, is it just my thought? Well, yeah, it's your thought, but it's influenced by your baby. It's the same with spirit. Like if you call another spirit and you're like, show me a sign, and then you fucking see the owl or the eagle or whatever, you're like, oh, they heard me, or no, they didn't hear me, I just saw an eagle randomly even though I asked for it. It's also the more we sync and trust and go, oh, the energy's all around us, so if I'm thinking it, seeing it, asking for it, then I'm going to also start to think it. And honestly, then the body starts to create a hologram. The body starts to go, well, this is what I am. Like a baby's here. It starts to call everything it needs in to potentially maybe incarnate that baby, if that's your purpose. So then it goes, okay, well, in order to get from point A to point B, I'd like to, have somebody's sperm, possibly somebody's sperm that maybe I love or that I'm in a relationship with, and it starts to meet all the things in between to get to the holographic outcome.
Wow.
So it's part of the manifestation. So conscious daydream is really important.
Okay. Is it ever?
Okay? It is. So those are like some spirit baby anchors to start with. They're like my basics, my go-to of just like continuing connecting, continuing to call in for whatever purpose you want, really. And for where you're at right now, it can be as a guide to gain information, to begin to maybe assimilate and clear more energy for yourself and heal. And then maybe even working into calling him in with calling in that partner if you desire.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. It's been so much fun. Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't wait.
I'm kind of like that though. I'm like, once I get into spirituality, especially spirit babies, but spirituality in general is like, I could just like talk for like hours. It's like, I don't even know what time it is.
There's so much. There is so much to talk about.
Infinite.
It is. Yeah. Okay. So for people who have listened to this podcast and are just like, holy shit, I need a session, how can people get in touch with you?
Yes. So my website has all my offerings on it, collectivehealing.ca. Everything is bookable online. If there's any questions that need to be asked before your booking, feel free to email me. It's all on there. And then for just cool little tidbits or reels or just updates on what's happening with the spirit babies or portals or spirituality, I'm on Instagram. So that's collective_healing_spirit babies. I think I have a Facebook account open. I'm never on there. So it's best to find me for social media on Instagram, to message me there as well, or my website and email.
Perfect. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again for coming on and sharing all of this amazing knowledge and for introducing me to Aiden, little guy. Yeah, that's so cool.
He's super cute. He's super cute and really wide-eyed. I meant to say, he's got the brown hair, but he's really wide-eyed. And I would say his eyes they're either and they're not super dark brown. They're a bit of a hazel, and there's some green in there. I don't even know what color you are, but they're a bit hazel. They're not so dark brown, but there's some lightness in there, but they're super round, very round.
All right. Cool.
Wide-eyed. And he's he likes to watch. He's just watching.
That's so cool.
Smart little guy. Yeah, he's a smart little guy. Yeah, he's not overly chatty, but when he does chat, he's got a lot. The words are you want to listen. It's one of those people. It's they're kind of not overly chatty, but you respect that person immensely. You don't know why, and then when they talk, you're like, oh fuck, that's why.
Okay.
That's also your baby. So you might not always, also if you don't always hear him, maybe you can also go into the felt sense too. If he's in a moment where he's not overly talking, he's just observing. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, okay. We're going to go into more.
Well, I will let you get on to your next session.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, she's like, no problem. She's like, I've been a long-term client of mine. When I was like, I'm running a little overtime. She's like, no problem. So it's all good. But thank you so much for having me and letting me digress and talk and hold space and all the things. It's wonderful.
Wonderful. Yeah. And we will connect in person soon. I will reach out.
Let's do it. That would be fun.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, I'll talk with you soon.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Bye. Bye. Thanks so much for sharing your time and energy with us today. We'd love to hear your feedback on how our podcast has impacted your life and are also open to suggestions for new and interesting topics. Please leave your comments with a quick review to help us grow this magical community of wellness warriors and light workers. Every month, we select one lucky reviewer to win our big magic box containing all 3 of our beautiful magic lattes. To connect with us further, check us out on Instagram at wild_remedies. Thank you again, and see you at the next episode.